Hi, this is Kimberly. This is a synopsis and a critique of Chapter 21 of the book Letters from Christopher, Tragic Confessions of the Watts Family Murders. The book is by Shanann Cadle. This chapter is titled The Autopsies. This chapter starts out saying, quote, "The following is not the full autopsies. It is the observations of the autopsies," end quote. What the author means to say is that it is Tammy Lee's observations. She must have been naive to think that she could put a book out on Chris Watts and there wasn't going to be any people picking it apart, because we've studied this case from every possible angle. I actually question if the author is as interested in this case as we are. I've seen her on some interviews and I can tell she doesn't know the case like us. And well, I know I sound like a mean girl, but I don't think we should let her join our informal club. On with the chapter review. I'll try to stay on topic. I've never been tested, but I think I have ADD. I know I hide it well, but my mind is always racing at 90 miles an hour, and you should see my desk. In my heart, I'm a very tidy person, and when I was younger, I was. But something happened, and now I make messes wherever I go. And then I don't know what to do. I just stand there, go, what the hell? And don't even with the misplacing things. Drives my husband up a wall. He still loves me, though. I'm very lovable. Damn, I've already gotten off topic. Okay, so the autopsies were done at McKee Medical Center in Loveland, Colorado. Prior to the performance of the autopsies, the Chief Deputy District Attorney read an email aloud to the forensic pathologist regarding a request by the public defender's DNA expert to have the necks of the victim swabbed and removal and scrapings of the fingernails and x-rays. What I'm about to say, this may sound monotonous because it is to me, but it is what it is. She copy and pasted this whole damn chapter. I just can't let this go. The only words that were changed is she took out some of the proper names and used the more general words such as their title. She did for some reason use the forensic pathologist's name, Dr. Burson. It's a reproduction of Discovery, and it's unacceptable to call it a book that you wrote, Mrs. Cadle. This copy-paste bullshit, it's really pissing me off. She hyped up this book, making it appear that there was going to be all this new shit in it, but 90% of it is copying off of Tammy Lee. I'm sure Tammy has had to put up with this kind of horseshit her whole academic life, because she's brilliant. And now in her career, someone's doing it. I wonder if Tammy knows that her words are in a book that someone else claimed to write. This woman is going to go on Dr. Oz soon and act like she came up with all of this stuff. Red flag number one to me was that she and Chris Watts first started communicating in March, and the book came out the beginning of October. Well, it doesn't take long to copy and paste now, does it? That explains how she was able to come out with a book in lightning speed. She said she was working at a full-time job at the time, so yeah, copy and paste a chapter after work, go to bed. It didn't take long. I mean, I'm really enraged about this. Jesus Christ, I'm going to start doing true crime myself if this is all you have to do. Sit back on my ass while law enforcement do all the hard and dirty work. They spend extra hours at work behind a computer writing their reports and their synopsis, and then they go home to a sleepless night while rage, grief, and anxiety fled their mind and body. Then Kimberly comes along, requests the discovery. I copy the hell out of it and paste it into my easy-to-use word processor. Poof, I have a book. How can she live with herself? I knew right away this book was going to be a piece of shit when I was invited to do a documentary on her book. And I was like, what you talking about, woman? I immediately left her now defunct Facebook page when the first sentence I read had a grammatical error. No one takes you seriously when you talk like shit. I mean, when one is inarticulate. She said in one of her interviews that her family and friends quite enjoyed the book. Of course they did. Do you know how much schooling and years of on-the-job experience Tammy Lee has? At least put her as co-author, or just that she's the author and you are the scribe. I think that's fair. From now on, I would like to refer to Mrs. Cadle as a scribe. A scribe back in the day copied documents before printing was invented. Yeah, that smooth copying and pasting thing we got going on now is badass. Word of the day is plagiarism. Plagiarism is using someone else's work without giving proper credit. She should have said, according to the Chris Watts discovery files, CBI agent Tammy Lee said, and then put it in quotes, or she could have paraphrased. And I probably wouldn't have even been pissed then. This author needs to go back to kindergarten. Damn it, I just called her an author again. Scribe. The scribe needs to go back to primary school. I think she took the share everything rule the wrong way, or too far. It seems she was looking for shortcuts to get this book out because she had a few letters from Christopher. And yes, I do recognize that was unique and something that no one else has been able to do. So shut up. We are nearing the end of this Letters from Christopher book, and I feel like it has offered very little in the way of new information. Her biggest bombshell she sold to the Daily Mail right when the book came out. How very coy of her. That made it seem as if the entire book was just jam-packed with bombshell information. Well, so far, it's been an overwhelming surprise full of disappointment. There's always hope for the next chapter. To end the chapter, she gives us a lot of dribble and the definitions of sane and insane, which she no doubt copied. And then she asks some questions such as, quote, could he be right about that was an evil presence around him, unquote, and then gives us the definition of possessed. I hope the hell she's not suggesting that Chris Watts is not responsible for his own actions. Well, she can suggest that shit all she wants, and he can believe what he wants. Thank God there are sane, law-abiding, and rational people here on the outside that have made sure this cowardly, candy-ass, weakling, evil piece of chicken shit will never see the outside world again, ever. I hope he feels despair and terror every single long day and night of his life. At least he has a life. It was not up to him to decide that for Shanann, Nico, Bella, and Celeste. God Almighty, did I forget to review Chapter 21? Well, here it is, 3 pages of nothingness that you can get by Googling Chris Watts' discovery and then search for autopsy. Damn it, Cadle, stop copying off of other people's work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read discovery pages 622 and 623 because that is her entire 3-page chapter. And please stay tuned till the end, where you'll find 3 short clips from Daily Mail on Sherilyn Cadle's exclusive with them, where they celebrate her mediocrity. I mean her bombshell book. Lord knows I try to be nice, but I seem to always fail. And now for CBI agent Tammy Lee's summary of the autopsies. On Friday, August 17th, 2018, I, Colorado Bureau of Investigation, CBI agent Tammy Lee, responded to McKee Medical Center, which is located at 2000 North Boise Avenue in Loveland, Colorado, to attend the autopsies of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste Watts. Shanann, Bella, and Celeste were all murdered on Monday, August 13th, 2018, and dumped at an oil well site north of Roggen, Colorado, referred to as Survey 319. Shanann's body had been recovered the evening of Wednesday, August 15th, 2018, from a clandestine grave. Bella and Celeste were recovered Thursday, August 16, 2018, from inside separate crude oil tank batteries. This report documents my observations at the autopsies. Action taken. On Friday, August 17, 2018, at approximately 10 a.m., I, Colorado Bureau of Investigation, CBI agent Tammy Lee, responded to McKee Medical Center, which is located at 2000 North Boise Avenue, Loveland, Colorado, to attend the autopsies of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste Watts. The autopsies were performed by Dr. Michael Burson and his assistant, Weld County Deputy Coroner Joey Weiner. Present during the autopsies were Weld County Coroner Carl Leish, Weld County Chief Deputy District Attorney Steve Wren, Weld County Deputy District Attorney Patrick Roche, FBI agent Graham Coder, and CBI scene analysis Eric Bryant. Prior to the performance of the autopsies, Chief Deputy District Attorney Wren read an email aloud to Dr. Burson, which included a request by the public defender's DNA expert to have the necks of the victim swabbed, removal, scrapings of the fingernails, and x-rays. The first autopsy performed was on Shanann Watts. Shanann had x-rays taken prior to the autopsy, and I informed Dr. Burson that Shanann had prior neck surgery. Shanann was wearing a purple-gray t-shirt, black bra, and blue thong underwear, which were removed and collected as evidence. Shanann appeared to have a large amount of skin slippage and her amniotic sac protruding from her vaginal area. Dr. Burson examined the amniotic sac and removed Shanann's fetus. The fetus was collected as evidence, and CBI laboratory manager Aaron Koning arrived during the autopsy to transport the fetus directly to the CBI's forensic laboratory. During Shanann's autopsy, Dr. Burson pointed out several important findings. Dr. Burson advised Shanann's hyoid bone was not broken, although he pointed out bruising to the soft tissue on the right side of the hyoid bone. Dr. Burson also noted bruising to the muscles and tissue in Shanann's neck. Dr. Burson advised he did not note any other trauma to Shanann's body and found no evidence of disease. Dr. Burson advised Shanann's preliminary cause of death was asphyxiation due to manual strangulation. The second autopsy performed was on 4-year-old Bella. Bella was dressed in a pink nightgown covered in butterflies and a pair of underwear, which were removed and collected as evidence. Bella also had a large amount of skin slippage. Bella was x-rayed and there was concern she may have a broken jaw. The x-rays were sent to a pediatric radiologist at Children's Hospital, who advised it appeared to be gas in the area of the jaw and not an actual fracture. It also appeared Bella had some scrapes to her buttocks and the tops of both shoulders. Dr. Burson pointed out several important findings. Dr. Burson advised Bella's frenulum, the skin connecting the top lip to the gum, was torn, which created a large hole. The inside of Bella's gums and inner lip also appeared bruised, and it appeared Bella had bit into her tongue. Dr. Burson indicated Bella's injuries were consistent with hard downward pressure on her nose and mouth. Dr. Burson indicated Bella's death was violent, as it appeared she struggled to get away. Dr. Burson's preliminary cause of death for Bella was asphyxiation due to manual smothering. Dr. Burson did not note any bruising or injury to Bella's neck. The final autopsy performed was on 3-year-old Celeste. Celeste was dressed in a pink nightgown, Minnie Mouse underwear, and a pull-up. The nightgown and underwear were collected as evidence. Celeste had a large amount of skin slippage. Celeste did not have any obvious signs of injury or bruising to her neck area. I also did not observe any injury to Celeste's mouth or face, to include petechia. Dr. Burson advised Celeste's preliminary cause of death was asphyxiation due to manual smothering. Dr. Burson also measured the hip and shoulder width of Bella and Celeste, and advised the smallest width with Celeste was 9.5 inches. I was aware the opening to the hatch of the oil tank was only 8 inches in diameter. The items of evidence collected during the autopsy were packaged and turned over to Detective Baumhofer. Photographs from the autopsy taken by CSA Bryant are attached to this report, along with sign-in sheets for each autopsy. Investigation continues. Agent Tammy Lee, Denver, Colorado Bureau of Investigation. Discovery page 622 and 623. And that will be the end of this video. I will pick up at chapter 22 in the next one. Please stay tuned if you wish to see the Daily Mail reports. Much love and peace. Thank you for listening.
In this Daily Mail TV exclusive, we're hearing from killer dad Chris Watts' pen pal, and she claims Watts gave her a true confession. Cheryl Lynn Cadle is opening up about her one-on-one conversations with the convicted killer. She's revealing new, disturbing details about how and why he killed his pregnant wife and 2 daughters.
He did feel that had he never met McKee, this would never have happened.
Cheryl Lynn says Chris Watts plotted the murder of his wife and 2 daughters so he could be with his mistress, Nicole Kessinger.
She had almost a spell. He was so attracted to her that he was mesmerized by her. And she showed him respect, and he didn't feel like he had ever been shown that before.
It's just one of the shocking revelations made in Cheryl Lynn's new book, Letters from Christopher. The grandmother of 11 says she was compelled to meet with Watts after first seeing him on the news.
The very first morning that I saw Christopher, it just struck me. There was such a lost look when watching him on television that day.
There was never any doubt in your mind that he was guilty of these crimes?
Never any doubt at all.
Cheryl Lynn and Watts exchanged multiple letters. She showed the correspondence to DailyMail.com senior reporter Louise Boyle.
You can see here his writing is small, and this is like a 10-12 page letter here that he's written.
You'll recall Watts first told investigators he killed Shanann in a fit of rage.
He told me that he was not angry. It did not happen in a fit of rage like he had told the FBI. That it happened very calmly as she was drifting off to sleep, that he knew how to squeeze the jugular veins in her neck to cut off the oxygen supply.
Cheryl Lynn also met with Watts at the Wisconsin prison where he's serving a life sentence.
One thing that bothered me is he wouldn't look at me in the eye. He wants people to think good of him. It's very hard for him to be called a monster or to be called a murderer.
And for more details on this story, make sure you head to DailyMail.com. Killer dad Chris Watts' chilling confession. A disturbing letter that the convicted murderer sent his prison pen pal reveals never-before-heard details about how he killed his 2 daughters and his pregnant wife. Cheyenne Roundtree has more on the exclusive story from our New York newsroom. Cheyenne, what do you have for us?
Jesse, the details in this letter are extremely disturbing. Daily Mail TV has seen the letters in which Chris Watts confesses to murdering his family and explains how he did it. He writes, "I went to the girls' room first before Shanann and I had our argument. I went to Bella's room, then Cece's room, and used a pillow from their bed to kill them. That's why the cause of death was smothering. Leaving his daughters to be dead, Watts then killed Shanann, but while in the process of doing so, the children woke up and walked into the room bruised and traumatized, so he had to suffocate them again." The letter was sent to Cheryl Cadle, a 65-year-old grandmother who visited Watts 3 times in person and spoken to him a few times a week on the phone, with their most recent conversation taking place last week. Cadle used these conversations as well as a letter from her new book, Letters from Christopher, and will have other shocking confessions from her prison visits in our exclusive interview airing tomorrow.
Cheyenne Roundtree, thanks. We have more of our interview with a woman who received chilling confession letters from killer dad Chris Watts. Cheryl Lynn Cadle also spent hours with the convicted murderer. He opened up to her, revealing shocking new information about his wife, mistress, and life behind bars.
He is in a pod, they call it, with handicapped men. They're close to the infirmary. It's a small area, I think of about 17 people. Christopher believes that if he's ever in general population that he will have a very difficult time.
Cheryl Lynn Cadle spent 15 hours with Chris Watts at the Dodge Correctional Institute in Wisconsin. The killer Colorado dad is serving 5 life sentences for the murder of his wife, daughters, and unborn child.
Christopher reads a lot.
What does he read?
Mainly he reads Christian books.
Before the face-to-face meetings, the 65-year-old grandmother exchanged handwritten letters with Watts. The 34-year-old opened up about everything, including his emotional sentencing.
He says that there's times that during the sentencing that he just wanted to run and bash his head against the wall.
Her new book, Letters from Christopher, also contains notes Watts wrote to his dead wife and daughters. She says he seems detached from his crimes.
He doesn't talk a lot about the girls. He talks more about Shanann.
Cheryl Lynn also spoke with Watts' parents. Apparently, his mom believes Shanann killed the children.
I believe that Cindy Watts hated Shanann so much that she can't get past the fact that thinking that Shanann killed her own daughters.
The book is clearing up claims that Watts had affairs with a man and a woman he met on Tinder.
Christopher said he had never cheated on Shanann until Nikki.
Watts met Nicole Kessinger at work. The pair had been seeing each other for 2 months when he decided to annihilate his family so he could be with her.
What has he told you about his feelings towards Nikki now?
He says he still loves her, that he loved her like he had never loved anyone else before. And at the same time, he'll tell you he loves Shanann.
Moving on to a DailyMail.com exclusive.
The mistress of Colorado killer Chris Watts is apparently back in touch with him 3 years after she last spoke publicly. This was revealed exclusively by David Carter, a friend of Watts and fellow inmate.
She reached out to him and contacted him and said that she needed to talk to him. And they found the letter and they found out that it came from Nicole Kessinger instead of someone else.
Kella Brantley joins us now with more on this exclusive story. Kella, what more have you learned?
So Thomas, David Carter says that Chris Watts wasn't supposed to have any contact with Kessinger, but she's the one who initiated it using her new identity. Watts also told Carter that he did murder his pregnant wife Shanann and 2 daughters because he didn't want to pay child support and instead wanted to be with Nicole Kessinger, who he calls Nikki. We also asked Carter about the allegations that Watts and fellow male inmate Dylan Tallman were in a relationship, which Tallman's girlfriend had previously denied.
They were indeed lovers. They had an intimate relationship together. They always talked to each other. They spent 16 hours a day on the wall talking to each other.
Carter says that despite never showing any remorse for the murders, Chris has turned to religion, signing letters in Christ, Chris.
Thanks, Kella, and continue to bring us the very latest.